Imagine the narrow, cobblestone streets of a medieval city. Between tall, timber-framed houses, mist curls like pale smoke, clinging to the chill of dawn. Above it all, the spire of a Gothic cathedral pierces the grey sky, pointing like a solemn finger toward heaven. Somewhere in the distance, a bell tolls, a slow, resonant, unhurried, calling the faithful to morning prayers. Merchants and craftsmen step into the streets, their cloaks pulled tight, heading toward the market square or their workshops. Farmers from outside the city hurry in with baskets of vegetables, their boots heavy with mud. Yet beneath the scent of baking bread and the sound of traders calling their wares lies something invisible, but ever-present, a web of rules, prohibitions, and punishments that governs every step of daily life. In the Middle Ages, the law was not just a tool for punishing crime. It was an all-encompassing framework, woven deeply into religion, social hierarchy, and the fear of chaos. Today, we can choose what to wear, what to eat, where to go, without a second thought. In the 14th or 15th century, almost every choice, from the color of your cloak to the hour you sang a song, was bound by law. And to break those laws could mean fines, humiliation, or even death. Laws governing appearance in medieval England, France, and much of Europe. There existed something called sumptuary laws, special regulations that forbade commoners from wearing certain fabrics, colors, or jewelry. These laws were designed to keep the social order visible at all times. Purple, for instance, was the color of royalty. To wear it without permission was to declare yourself above your station, a dangerous and arrogant act. One English chronicle tells of a craftsman who dared to attend church in a cloak trimmed with fur. This was a luxury far above his rank. The church wardens seized him on the spot, stripped the fur from his cloak in front of the congregation, and forced him to walk home wearing a sackcloth tunic as the crowd jeered. In the wealthy Italian city-states of Florence and Venice, the rules were equally strict. Women from lower classes were forbidden to wear gold chains or rings set with precious stones. Inspectors, known as officially di notte in Florence, patrolled the streets, stopping women to check their clothing. If they found illegal adornments, they would confiscate them immediately, and the offender's name would be recorded in a public book of shame, a list that could ruin a family's reputation for years. Food laws and religious fasts. The church dictated much of what people could eat and when. Fasting days took up nearly half the medieval calendar. On those days, meat, dairy, and eggs were forbidden. To break the fast was not merely to break a rule, it was both a sin and a crime. In England, anyone caught eating meat during Lent could be paraded through the streets wearing a heavy wooden collar strung with bones, a public symbol of gluttony. In some towns, informants were paid to spy on kitchens for the smell of roasting meat. Market regulations were equally harsh. Bakers who sold underweight bread were tied to a public post with the offending loaf hung around their neck. Brewers who watered down ale could be forced to drink their own concoction until they vomited, a punishment designed to both humiliate and disgust. Behavioral restrictions. Some medieval laws seem absurd to modern ears, yet they were enforced with zeal. In certain English towns, it was illegal to sing, play music, or even laugh too loudly after the curfew bell rang. The idea was to preserve order, avoid drunken brawls, and keep streets quiet for the respectable citizens. In both England and Scotland, football, the chaotic, early version of soccer, was outright banned. Authorities believed it distracted men from practicing archery, a vital military skill. The penalty ranged from a fine to public flogging. When animals faced trial, the reach of medieval justice extended beyond human beings. Animals could be and often were put on trial. In France, records survive of a pig that killed a child. The pig was arrested, kept in a cell, formally tried in court, found guilty, and publicly executed by hanging. Goats, Dogs, cows, and even roosters were accused of crimes and punished as though they understood human law. Morality and family control. Marital fidelity was not merely a private matter, it was a legal one. A woman accused of adultery might be forced to walk through the town in nothing but her shift, carrying a heavy stone as a sign of her shame. Townspeople would follow, mocking and jeering, while the local magistrate recorded her crime for the official records. It was also during this period that the idea, half myth, half reality, of the chastity belt took root. Though historians debate how widely they were actually used, their very existence reflects the extent of male control over women's bodies and lives. In the popular imagination, knights supposedly locked these belts onto their wives before leaving for war, carrying the key away with them. Brutal punishments. Medieval punishments were rarely subtle. A thief might lose a hand, a poacher an eye. Treason against the king could earn you the dreaded sentence of being hanged, drawn, and quartered. Executions were public events, attended by hundreds, even thousands. They were intended as both a spectacle and a warning. The law does not forgive. Yet for all their cruelty, these laws were seen as necessary. They upheld a rigid hierarchy and enforced a moral order that, in the eyes of the rulers, kept society from falling into chaos. For the people of the Middle Ages, living under such laws was not unusual, it was simply life.